Hello everyone, welcome to the Richest Men in Town podcast. I'm Mike Freeman, and along with my good friend and co-host Tyler Gould, we're excited to welcome you to our little podcast project. Tyler and I are just a couple of middle-aged husbands and dads driven to live our best lives. We want to be better every day, so here we'll be sitting down with great people. Not famous people, but great people that we admire, to learn their secret to living the rich life. Probably not the rich life you're thinking of. Our guests come in humbled and surprised at the invitation and hopefully leave feeling proud and grateful, realizing just how good they really have it. So pull up a chair, stay a while, and raise a glass with us as we toast our guests to the richest men in town.
Bang, Tyler Gould. Season 4 of the Richest Men in Town starts off with a home run of a guest. Mitch Bahr just hung out with us for a little bit. Talk to me about what's moving around in that head of yours after time with Mitch.
Yeah, we've been away for about a month, and we come back in a dead sprint. I mean, we didn't really think this through about easing ourselves back into RMIT because Mitch came out swinging, man, and it was fun. I loved where Mitch is at. I mean, Mitch is all about people and all about people creating relationships and lifting people to a better place. And I loved everything that Mitch had to say tonight.
Mitch is about being real. I think he uses this phrase a couple of times. And this is actually a liberating thing. If we can get to a place, Mitch teaches us some things about this, but the idea of being comfortable in our own skin.
Absolutely.
Right. Being real, being authentic and showing up. And that doesn't I think he uses this idea of masked perfection.
Yeah, he does.
Right. And this dangerous game of guilt.
Yeah.
Especially as it relates to faith. Yeah. I think that Mitch takes us some places tonight.
Yeah. I love, Mitch to me is a collector of people. He's the kind of guy that creates relationships and they're with him forever. He made a comment about, that he's the kind of guy that's going to be in your corner and telling you hard things between rounds. And
right? Who doesn't need that?
Yeah, I love that visual, and I love the idea of having someone in my corner that's going to tell me when I need to get my act together. I mean, what a great visual tonight.
But I mean, as people deal, we want to be there for people, right? But this idea of I'm going to care, but I'm not going to carry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I'm going to be moved to compassion. I'm going to have empathy and I'm going to help things, but your things are your things. My things are my things. Right. And that idea of that balance. Cause I think that again, you talked a little bit about burnout when we're working in that horizontal game and we're not taking care of our relationship with God, our relationship with other people, we could get into a place where we're lost.
Yeah, he talked about being focused north and his relationship with God. I thought that was that was meaningful to me. And he's a teacher, so professionally he's really about building people. But man, he is a family man. He is dedicated to his wife. He talks about Mervyn's and LA Gear, and I'm telling you, I had a
good Reeboks.
Yeah, that's true. I had a good time tonight, Mike. I appreciate you bringing Mitch into the RMIT fold and the opportunity that I had to learn from Mitch tonight.
Yeah, I mean, so Mitch just happens to be one of my favorite people. I think he is a collector of people. I think people are drawn to him. I think that really comes in handy when you're teaching high school.
Yeah,
right.
Right.
When teenagers see something and create, and they get into a place where they feel a sense of belonging and they're going to it, something good's happening.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? And we caught him on the night the night of the first day of school, and the guy's like sore throat, right? Because he's been talking all day, and he's a gamer.
Yeah, he came strong tonight, and I hope people appreciate what Mitch brings to the table, because there are some nuggets in there that are worth implementing in your life.
It's actually Mitch Bahr tonight went a little drug dealer effect, right? I think he gave us enough to hook us. Like, we got to have some more.
Oh, for sure. I mean, as soon as we
got, there's been some great back and forth with some of those things.
100%.
We were looking at each other.
When he left the room, I was like, and you and I were talking. I said, we got to do this again, because there's some things that we needed to dive into some more. It was fun, man.
Well, and we buried some, you talk about nuggets, we buried some amazing music references at the end of the program. So not only are we hitting it season 4, where you know how this show is going to end, right?
Right.
It's going to end with a tribute to George Bailey and It's a Wonderful Life, and we're going to talk about what it means to him. But then he gets into what he's listening to right now, and it's funky. It's out there. I mean, it's some things. It's not on your hits 1 right now.
No, but I'm looking forward to my drive to work tomorrow. It'll be interesting.
Yeah. So to all of our future fans of Snarky Puppy, thanks for the continued support of the richest men in town. Tyler, always good to connect, man. It had been a little bit. And it was wonderful to sit down and spend some time with Mitch. So to Mitch Bahr, you keep going, brother. Keep doing what you're doing. To the Bahr family, thank you for the lessons that Mitch's experience is going to mean for so many of our listeners. Here we go, right? Season 4, onward, onward and upward. So we hope that you enjoy your time in this episode with our new friend, Mitch Bahr, on The Richest Men in Town, season 4. I don't even know where to start with you, man. Where do we start? We said goodbye in July,
and here we are in August. It's been about a month. Been about a month, yeah.
Yeah, it feels good, right?
It feels good. It feels
good to kind of be back in the saddle, and I honestly, okay, if we're going to be brutally honest,
yeah,
I am a better person with you in my life, Tyler Gould, every week.
I would agree. I feel the same way, Mike Freeman. I do need some Mike Freeman on a weekly basis. I need that.
That sounds kind of weird, but like I can't. I think my family would be like, "When are you going to get back to like trying to be better and stuff?"
Yeah, I do feel like. Look, I love a good break, but man, I got to tell you, like, there's something about having that pace where you're just going, and RMIT is part of that pace and
cadence, right?
Yeah, this last month I enjoyed my time, but I did see myself kind of coasting a little bit, and so it'll be good to start pedaling hard,
Yeah, I think there's been a little drift off target, a little bit, and hey, all work and no play, right? Moderation in all things.
Yeah.
Even something as wonderful as The Richest Men in Town. We went hard for a couple years, couple seasons.
Yeah,
we take a step back for a month, and you start to miss it. You start to Jones for some midweek church.
That's right. Now, but look, you've had a great excuse. You've got both kids at home right now, which is about to change.
But hold on, you know how this goes. Both kids are at home,
but they're not at home.
Who's home right now?
Yeah. No, I totally get
Nobody.
it. I have my older girls are home too. They came home for a couple weeks. Nice. They leave on the 24th to go back to BYU, and
guess my kids will be maybe they'll meet. There is no meetup. You guys come at it from a totally different angle, probably.
I mean, they're getting. I think they're pretty amped to have the Freeman.
Yeah. But I mean, it would be kind of cool if like they were in Elko or something and they just met at a McDonald's and just caravanned it in. You know what I mean? But you guys come at it.
Yeah, we're coming at it from the south. Yeah, different angle. But I guess
that meetup will happen.
Oh yeah, it's going to happen in Provo. The convergence on Provo is coming quick. So that's pretty cool. That's exciting, man.
Yeah, that is exciting. And the airport, right? The airport experience. Grace comes home 18 months in Philly, and just like watching her make that transition back to life. Not back to life. She's in a different place, and it's fun to see that.
But it's definitely a transition, But life is transitions, right? We had this conversation with Troy Blanchard. Shout out to Troy Blanchard, whose daughter's getting married this weekend in San Diego. That's exciting.
We got to get that guy on.
Yeah.
Right?
So, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm following that guy on Facebook, and he's doing like dental clinics and stuff.
Yeah, the guy's been he's been a busy guy over the past couple of years. So
yeah, and the last time I think we talked to him, it was like, I'm not quite sure what we're doing with this move and like what the purpose. I think he's finding some sweet purpose.
I think there's some purpose that has been established. Yeah.
Troy Blanchard, start the clock, man. We are coming after you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, good stuff, man. I'm excited that Grace is home. I really just want to spend some time with your kids, man, and like have Grace just fill my ear, So, but that'll happen at some point. So I'm excited.
Those conversations are pretty sweet.
Yeah. So exciting stuff, and Abe's moving out. You guys are going to be legit empty nesters.
Legit empty nesters.
Yeah.
I mean, we've played with the idea before.
Yeah, you guys, you did you experimented, and now it's happening for real. And I've said this before, and you may not feel the same way, but I really feel like once your kids leave, man, it's like when they come back, they're kind of guests. It's a different vibe altogether.
Okay, let me just throw this out there because I know that we have a pretty broad demographic, male, female, age demographic of folks that are listening, and they've been on the edge of their seat jonesing for us to come back.
People just beside themselves.
Blowing up our social media and texting and emails. Okay, so we are back, but I just want to throw something out there because I know somebody right now is holding their 2-year-old. Mm-hmm. And they've had it, right? And they're like, get out of here with your empty nester stuff. This is never going to be over. And everyone in that person's life is going to them saying, oh, how cute. It goes quick.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how I can relay to that person effectively just how quick it goes. Because it's gone.
Yeah, it's gone, man. I know. It's so hard, like when you're in the moment, to actually be able to wrap your brain around the speed of which that time moves. But there's it'll be gone before you know it, and it's
so just trust a couple savvy veterans here. If young parents are listening, or even those that are, maybe not married, maybe don't even have kids, enjoy that.
That's a season, man. That's a season.
Enjoy that season. Enjoyed. Run with that season for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because transitions, things happen, things change.
Things change, man. Ain't that the truth? So,
well, hey, one of these days we're gonna have to kick guests out and get caught up with folks, and just because I know that I'm sitting on a stack of thoughts, and I know you're sitting on a stack of thoughts, but we are actually kicking off season 4 with a fantastic guest, one of my favorite people. And actually, why do we even say nice things when they're not in the room? I'm thinking Mitch Bahr is our guest. What do you say we launch into the season 4 with renewed vigor?
Yes,
zest for all things.
Have some vigor and some zest. Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it. I'm excited. I'm excited to meet Mitch.
And Mitch knows a thing or two about kids leaving the house.
Uh-oh.
Mitch Bahr, welcome to the richest man in town, brother. How are you?
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you doing? Hey, thanks, Mo, first of all, for letting me come out on National Teacher Laryngitis Day. So,
first day back, Tyler. That's what we did to this guy.
I've not talked this much since June. I'm just like, I have my water right here, so I'm good to go, man.
My wife is a teacher, and I'm used to that gravelly tone over the first few weeks. Yeah.
So
it's a condition, right?
Keeping the energy up, and but the voice is a little tired today, man. So.
It's a condition, and I am not gonna lie. I did think about that when I put the invitation out there, but I'm like, Mitch is a gamer.
Let's do this.
Been doing this for a little bit, right?
Absolutely.
Hey, so Mitch, this is my good friend, co-host Tyler Gould. Welcome to the Richest Men in Town podcast. We have been working. I've been working hard, Tyler, to get Mitch in the boat. So I'm excited to have him.
We've landed him, and now the pressure's on, Mitch. That's how it goes, man. Good to meet you too, man. I'm excited to dive into kind of your life and the things that you can teach us. I'm looking forward to it.
Hey, so Mitch, what year we just kick off in the classroom?
Year 26.
26.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Music teacher. So Tyler.
Awesome.
We've had Gavin Spencer on, friend of the program. So we love all teachers, but it looks like we got a thing for music teachers.
Why not?
Hey, I love
people,
music.
yeah.
I'm all in on that, man. I'm all in. So,
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah, I do need to warn you, music can be a possible rabbit hole. This is not a political podcast. It's not a music podcast.
but
it
can be either one. At any given
We're not
moment.
careful. It can
Let's
be
get
like,
next.
and
Let's see
we're
where it goes.
spinning cheap tracks with
Yeah, I won't get too much
Tyler
on my
Mike.
soapbox. Don't worry about it.
But I do have to ask, Mitch. I have to ask, as a music teacher, what drew you to this particular calling as your career? Was it the music? Was it the kids? Was it the combo of both?
My mom likes telling me that I would come home from school. I'm the oldest. I have one younger sibling, and I would come home from school and I would teach my sister everything I learned that day in school. Back when I was going to school, like she was at home. She was 2-3 years younger than me. And so when I came home, all I wanted to do was like share that information.
Oh, wow.
Pass it on and get her excited about what I was learning, I guess, from what my mom told me. Music just kind of came naturally. I grew up just south of here in Cottonwood, and kind of musically sheltered area, let's be honest.
And other things.
All I was allowed to listen to was Christian music.
Okay.
And so I didn't really have much of an idea about music, but I can vividly remember sitting in the living room watching the 1984 opening ceremonies in Los Angeles, watching the pianos in the LA Coliseum, watching Rhapsody in Blue being played, and thinking music must be a part of my life. It was a seminal moment, man. It was just
cool.
That was a moment that I was like, music has to be in my life in some capacity. And I think I just took those two passions and just blended them together.
I love that, man. So how old were you when you saw that on
11.
TV?
I was 11, and I had just started taking piano, and I went to my teacher and said, I've got to learn Rhapsody in Blue in some capacity. And I just kind of fell in love with it. And I hadn't heard that song before. We didn't listen to much classical music or anything, but just when you're caught with that level of culture and it just hits you, it just kind of blew me away. And I just, to this day, I remember it. For me, it was like that Beatles moment on the Ed Sullivan Show, right?
Wow, yeah.
You fast forward a few years, and that's what it was like for me,
That's so cool. That is
Look
so
at
cool.
Mitch dropping hinge moments 5 minutes in.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it.
Well, hey, I got to tell you, we're a little bit out of practice, Mitch. So we took a break. We've been going hard. We took a break. This is the kickoff to season 4, and we said, you know what? Let's take some time with the kids. Let's have a little bit of summer. And so you're kicking this thing off. So if you experience a little clunkiness between Tyler and I, it's because the groove, right? The vibe
It's been really unsettling, but I can go with it. It's
yeah, that's what we want, man. Just roll with it, man. Just roll with it.
Telepathically, I was sending Tyler the mental message, hey man, ask me what I love about this guy. Right? But that message didn't get delivered. So Tyler, may I share with you what I love about Mitch
Please,
Bahr?
Mike. I'm dying to know. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Mitch and I were colleagues at Foothill High School. And I've single-handedly seen him change the culture of a school, Tyler Gould, right? Like I've seen what his ability to connect with kids. We talk about just what the world needs is people doing what lights them up.
Yeah.
Mitch Bahr embodies that. Right. And it's cool because we've talked about this contagion of happiness and enthusiasm, part of that rich life. Mitch puts that out, right? Mitch is excited about what he's doing, and it gets other people around him excited. Plus, he's a amazing Giants fan.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
wow. Yeah. Well, we'll forgive. We forgive easy here.
Hold on. Can I just say one thing? I'm gonna digress 1 second.
Okay.
Class act Giants retiring Will Clark's jersey with the Cubs in town.
Yes. Right.
Nice.
100%. Yeah.
As a Cubs fan, that
all we
hurt.
all we needed was Maddox there, and we could have rocked a shot into the bay off him, and
yeah, that was rough, but so Giants fan, so one strike against him, but I think Tyler, that's his only strike, right?
Yeah, like I said, I forgive easy,
Yeah, so I leave Foothill High School, but I follow Mitch. We run into each other, and every time that energy's there, every time I'm always interested in the life that he's living. I'm always interested in the family man that he is, the life, just the connections, the passion, the growth of his program. And I think that as we're about the same age, so his kids are in that same journey.
Yeah.
And now I work with his wife, right? So it's like, okay, Mitch has got to come on. But here's what did it. You take one of my favorite people, and then he drops this post on Facebook. And Mitch, I just want to go there right out of the gate.
Let's do it.
You shared a story about how you met your wife and what you carry on your keychain, I think.
Yes.
Talk to me about this.
All right, let's do it. Let's go.
If anyone's wondering what the richest men in town, if anyone's wondering what the richest men in town podcast life is about, this story embodies it. Mitch, I hand it over to you.
So I graduated high school. I'm pretty much going nowhere. I'm at Shasta College, just taking history classes with my buddy because he wanted to be a history major. Not knowing what I'm doing. Typical 17, 18-year-old, just having a good time with my friends. My wife comes home from her first year of college at Biola, and she's invited to a Bible study right on Deschutes Road at my youth pastor's house. And
hey, throw the name out.
Huh?
Throw the name out. Youth pastor?
Mike Clary.
All right.
Mike Clary, Valley Christian Fellowship. So friend that invites her goes off and helps fix someone's life because some drama came up, and leaves Carmen just kind of sitting on the couch at the end of the Bible study. So Mr. Smoothie here in your 12 o'clock, he goes over, sees an opportunity because there's a beautiful young lady sitting on the couch by herself. So I go over and, where are you from? And, and she's like, well, I went to, man, I could make this go a long time, but I went to Biola, and that's where I'm home from. And I'm like, oh yeah, Biola, great school. I had no idea what school that was,
but that's a smooth move from I like it.
Yeah. Things we got to say. Oh yeah, Biola. Yeah, great.
Well
school.
played.
Yeah. Anyways, we meet a couple times, and she stops coming to Bible study, and okay, and find out from the friend, they're starting one themselves. I think I'm never going to see this girl again. And boy, I really just right away, not only just attracted to her, but just who she was. Because, Carmen, Mike, I mean, she's one of those gems. She's just an amazing human. So my mom wakes me up on a Saturday morning and says, you got to go buy some shoes. Like, your shoes are just a tattered mess. Now, my parents were well off. I always just kind of bought my clothes and everything for me. And by the way, my mom has no idea who Carmen is. So I got to go buy some shoes. Random thing. Mervyn's is having a sale.
Mervyn's.
Remember Mervyn's?
Shout out to Mervyn's. Pour some out for Mervyn's.
Shout out to Mervyn's. Yes.
Good old Merv, man.
I'm like, what am I? Okay, Mom. So, I had some money. I had a summer job. And so I'm going up there to Mervyn's, and I walk in, and lo and behold, again, my mom doesn't know who Carmen is. Carmen's working in the shoe department. And I'm like, okay, no friends are around. I get to see her again. This is my opportunity. So I really want to impress this young lady. So I bought 2 pairs of shoes.
Smooth.
That'll do it.
Man, better believe it. So anyways, I get in her aisle to check out, and give them some small talk, and I say, hey, what are you writing in the box? And she goes, I'm writing writing the date, writing the price, and I'm writing my number. I'm like, digits, baby. Phone number, right? So go into the car, I bust open the box, and I'm seeing the date and the price, and like, dude, 4 digits. What? So I'm driving down to my friend's house in Anderson, and I'm wrapping my head around this, and dude, I don't know that places like that have employee numbers. I can't figure it out. So right away I get down there and I'm telling him the story. He's like, that's your employee number, you idiot. And he's like, dude, man, I'll get her number for you. So he calls his friend that brought her, and so I asked her out and everything like that. And we started dating that summer, and so we kind of stuck with stuff. I asked her out, after a DC Talk concert at Jesus Northwest, because why not, in DC Talk. So we spend a year apart from each other. But, the story I think, Mike, that you're getting to is like, shoes came with dog tags on them.
Remember that?
And so somewhere just in me, the little foreshadowing, I just kind of thought this was a big moment for me, and I keep those with me. So when I'm at a concert, those two shoes that I bought, those are dog tags, LA Gear and Reebok, baby. LA Gear.
LA Gear, man. LA Gear and Mervin's. I feel like I'm like in the Wayback Machine. I love it.
Am I in an episode of Stranger Things right now?
It's called 1992, guys.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, man.
So, I always tuck those in my tux inner pocket whenever we do a performance, something like that. I always keep those with me. That's just kind of like a fun little keepsake I have.
That's a great story, man. I love that. I love that.
I mean, I just, and you guys know, like when like I just knew this is the girl, and she just is just that quality human being, that kind-hearted, genuine spirit. I can't say enough about my wife. She's just, everything I do is just for my family, and truly blessed, to have her in my life.
I got to tell you, Mitch, we talk a lot about remembering on this podcast, and the importance of remembering. And we've talked in the past about, Mike and I have talked about different things that we keep in our pockets that remind us of different things.
Yeah.
I love that idea of just, life is crazy, right? We can all agree on that. Things can get sideways pretty quick, but to be able to just have that thing that you can look at and it centers you back to what is important. I love that, man. I really love that.
Thanks.
I love that idea of a couple of ideas. I love the thought of things they carry.
Yeah, right.
What do you carry? What do you have on your person that just grounds you? That idea too of like that touchstone, right? Like, who am I? What am I about? What's important? And then here's the kicker. It's in those moments when Mitch steps on stage, right? Mitch steps on stage and he's got that good vibe, good luck, magic. LA Gear,
man.
And then here's the thought too. It's, I loved what you shared about hearing that music and thinking music has to be in my life. I mean, it's probably the same vibe, right? When you meet Carmen, it's like, whoa,
really good point. Yeah.
Whoa, this thing, like, that ability to sense the ground that you're standing on right now is pretty sacred, and you will tell this story to generations of people. Those don't happen every day.
And some things like that are there, and I'm just someone that if I see that moment, I'm unafraid to step into it. Like, let's go. Like, it might not work out the way you want, but if you see something and you see that door being opened, it's open for a reason. Walk through it.
Man, I love that. I was just talking to my daughter the other day, and she was telling me how she's keeping a journal that is just of the miracles that she can see happening in her life. And just this conversation, I love the idea of being able to reflect back to when you're 11 years old and listening to Rhapsody in Blue and then having that, recognizing that emotion and recognizing that moment for what it is, right? I mean, transformative with eyes to see behind us, right? We can say, well, that was a transformative moment.
Yeah.
And then, I think there's probably a whole contingent of people listening to this show that right now are like, LA Gear, yeah, buddy, right? They're like, that's their moment, right? That's, Mike, we're going to have a tagline made for that. LA Gear is for moments, man.
Yeah. Well, think of the flip side, right? Somebody right now is in a spot where that door opened and they didn't. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we believe in multiple on-ramps, right? We believe 100%. That you're not sentenced to a life of doom and gloom because you missed a shot in 1992. But like, what are the okay? I've been busy, Tyler, maybe watching some things, and I don't know where you stand on like La La Land.
I've never seen it. I've never seen it, man.
I'm throwing this out there to a group, and I don't know.
It's the most brilliant ending to a movie. Top 10 brilliant endings of a movie.
Okay, Mitch, we're gonna geek out, and Tyler's got some homework. Yes.
All right, man. I'll watch it.
These things, these moments, this life that we're living is about interactions, right? And it's about decisions, and it's about consequences of those decisions. And dreams can be built and can be destroyed with some of these interactions that we have.
The brilliance about La La Land is they got their dream, and their dream wasn't each other. They set it up like it was a romantic movie, but it's in LA, and LA is a very selfish, me first land, and they wanted their dream. He wanted his jazz club, she wanted her movie stardom, and they used each other to get what they wanted for the time they needed. They both needed each other to get where they wanted to go, and then they tried to wrap it into this fairy tale romance, realizing the ending's it's powerful because you realize they couldn't get to where they wanted to get with each other
without each other, though.
Sacrifice their ultimate dream. It's a weird dichotomy, but that's the mystery of the concrete jungle. I spent 10 years down there.
Hold on. Okay.
It's not. And so, they both realized, I could have been happy with this other person in that moment when they did the flashback. But they both looked at each other and kind of realized, you helped me get where I want to go. Thank you. But they couldn't do it together. They just weren't.
And they smile and they smile and walk off in their own separate lives.
And so many high schoolers are like, that was a stupid ending. I don't understand it. It's like, well, it just depends where you want to go and what you want to do, right?
Yeah. Well, I do remember being angry.
Yeah.
I do remember being angry the first time I saw it, but the more that I see it, it's a beautiful movie. It's an incredible movie. Highly recommend. Who knew that you would jump on Richest Men in Town and Mike would drop La La Land on you, Tyler Gould?
La La Land, yeah.
Yeah, we're all over the place, man. But I do love that idea, though, that I think that there's value, right? I am a big believer in this idea that we learn from the choices that we make, and we learn from the choices that we don't make as well, right? And sometimes that's a powerful motivator, right? We miss that off ramp or we miss that on ramp, and we think, shoot, I should have taken action. And we either it can go both ways, right? It can push us in a place where we wallow in that and we say, I missed out, I missed my opportunity, or we can be emboldened and say, the next time I see something like that, I'm taking a swing.
Yeah. For me, like in my career, it's like, where does drive and contentment intersect?
Yeah.
I've been recruited for different things. I've been asked to consider working at different places. And I've just thought, okay, where does personal ambition, where does that start to maybe not intersect, but conflict? Maybe where does that crash into just contentment? So I've taken plenty of swings that I didn't take. And I, prayed over them, thought over them, and just thought, no, I'm where I need to be right now.
Yeah.
And so, that level of personal contentment and just kind of knowing who you are and being happy, just kind of being in a high school in Palo Cedro and not feeling like I need to expand my territory somewhere else, whatever that means.
Yeah, I think, I agree with that notion, Mitch, because I think that the key component or my takeaway from what you just said is that component of self-reflection, right? Like honesty of where are you and what do you need, right? Yeah. And I think that if we're honest with ourselves, I have a lot of things that I think are important and big and that I'd like to reach for, but when I distill everything down in my life, that what really makes me happy, it's a few things.
Yeah.
Right? It's a very small list.
Well, and careful with that drive, right? Like great question posed, Mitch. Like, where do you shut that off?
Yeah.
Because once you flip that, it blink of an eye, it's a hamster wheel.
It is.
Right? Blink of an eye, there's never enough.
But and I think too, I think that idea of watering your grass where you're at, right? Yeah. To me, that doesn't, sometimes people will say, well, you settle for this or you settle. I think if someone is honest with themselves and builds where they're at, that is drive, right? Drive can look 100 different ways. It doesn't mean we have to be, moving to a different city or moving to a different job. I mean, be the best where you're at. I think that's drive, and that's admirable.
Well, you can kind of double up. You can pursuing. You can drive, and just like you said, Mike, that hamster wheel starts, and you just have to kind of realize, drive can just be, you don't have to drive for something else or pursue for say, you don't have to keep chasing what you don't have. There can be a moment where you find that contentment.
I don't want to go adversary and enemy of our souls, but I'm just going to point out the difference between contentment, that word you used.
Yeah. And
Satan comes around and takes that ment off and drops ION and creates contention.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
And it's so great. Like with faith, we can realize, like Tyler said, those very essential things that last the longest, the things that matter most are the things that last the longest. Right. And it can be well with our soul.
Yeah.
But he could take talents and strengths and put in some personal ambition and some drive. And before long, relationships, because everything's a trade-off, right?
Yep.
Everything, every choice that we're making has these trade-offs. And I think that when an opportunity comes, I love what you said about praying over things and, counseling with your wife and looking at things, because I think that you can say no to opportunities, but why are you saying no? Right? Like, I think that the bold, God does not give us the spirit of fear. So I don't say no to things because I'm afraid of things.
Right.
Right. I'm going to say no to things because of timing, because of priorities. And I think that that process is crucial.
Well, It's really important. Work it, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, is working for the Lord, not for men. Like, you can interpret that as just like, get on that wheel and never stop running, because that's what you do for God. And that's not what that's talking about. It's talking about, committing your heart to being focused on, just what you do it well, do it with integrity, do it with passion. But don't work just to work. And, we all have to learn as we get older how to say no. We always want to say yes to everything, but how to be content, setting really healthy boundaries, knowing limitations, and recognizing what's best for everybody, not just yourself, but your family, your kids. Some directors out there, they make their kids busy just to make them busy. And all kids need to be busy these days, and they absolutely do. But there also needs to be, I want kids to be in AP and be in band. I want them to be in sports and be in band. That's part of the culture of being at Foothill, Mike. Everything we do, we kind of have to do in the course of the day, because how many buses leave that school at 3:15. So I can't call evening practices and Saturday practices to do some elaborate field shows so we can go win a stupid piece of plastic. I'd rather go down to Reading Trophy and just buy one. It's just that what a lot of directors like to call success, I just don't buy into.
That's a door right there. We can kick that door in, right? Because I think that you're right. What are you calling success?
Yeah.
Like, have we sat down and actually defined what it is we want from this one life that we've got?
Yeah.
Right. This life is more than just a read through. Like, and I think that too, we're at a great place because at this stage, I'm starting to see almost like, I'm going to jinx my kids. I'm starting to see return on investment.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are building every day we're building something, right? We're building a life, and it's like, What do you want that life to be? My son spoke in church, and I heard him say, I've dreamed of my kids saying, my dad always says. And we had one of those moments where at the mic, he says, man, my dad always says that every missionary is a miracle. And I looked down and be like, let's embrace this moment and let it just kind of doing it a little bit.
Yeah, take it in. Yeah.
One, he's listening, and two, my message is consistent, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's the life I want, right?
Yeah.
That's the life I want. So, because I'm going to be in a box someday.
100%.
I'm going to be in a box someday, and how cool would it be? Is like, man, that guy always talked about Jesus. Man, that guy loved the Seahawks. Man, that guy loved this. Man, he loved his wife. Man, right? Like all of those things versus like, no, that's not the Mike Freeman I knew, right? I want anybody who knew me to be like, yep, that's who that guy was. Wherever he was, that's who he was. So cool moment.
Yes. Success for me in my job, it was initially like that young ego and let's chase some trophies. I asked the kids, when I got to Foothill, what do you want to do? And a kid went, well, we went to the mall one time. That was kind of fun. That was a direct quote. I still remember from 2002. Like, they just didn't do anything. So I'm like, let's get some plastic up here. Let's get some plaques on the wall. Let's get you feeling good about things. But, I quickly realized that pursuit, once we got a few things, I'm like, I just don't want to chase those things. I want to invest in these kids. And so, we still do some of that stuff. And if we go somewhere where we compete, sure, it's nice to win. But success for me is like, as my kids got closer to being teenagers, I was really excited to teach them. We always talked about how much fun it would be to have them in band. And I was kind of terrified of their friends, my friends' kids being in band, stuff like that, and how that was going to go. And thought, oh man, some of those friends are going to be like starting to drift away. Like, dude, pretty intense and mass. I don't know about that decision. And, to have a lot of those things be affirmed, like you made my kids' high school experience and they can't, we feel closer to you now. They're, I felt so good to have my kids like want to take more music classes and want to be with me and have my wife go, yeah, Izzy just loves watching you teach. And those things that's success to me. That's felt the world to me to know that I can be 20 something years in and I haven't lost that ability to kind of still be present and funny and insightful and help kids where they are grow as people through music.
I love it.
So,
man.
Yeah, we've had conversations with guests in previous episodes about the heart, right? Like that, keeping that heart soft, keeping that heart fired, keeping that heart humble. You've been doing this for a little bit, and I think you've probably seen some or worked with or been tempted to harden your hearts towards kids or experiences. You've gone through COVID, right? Like, what are your thoughts on keeping that heart soft? Sorry, man. We give you a pre-show doc with a bunch of questions, and then
it's great. It's really great.
Things not even on there.
So no, it's just too many things flood into my mind. I mean, as you go through and as you live life with kids, and by the way, I don't think it's any, one of the things I'm most proud with my job is that there's not a single night I don't have some alumni messaging me. It just happened before I sat down for dinner. Give me an update on what's going on, wanting to get together. Some of my summers are full of alumni coming back, and we just get a glass of water and hang out and talk and watch the Giants or whatever, and just catching up with them. I am sometimes a little overwhelmed by the amount of late 20s, early 30s something people that still want to connect with me. So I think it's learning that, as I've gone through, I kind of went down a different rabbit hole with that, but it's showing them that I have compassion towards what they're going through, that I have empathy for what they're dealing with, that I truly care about them, that music's a lot more than just getting the right fingering at the right time or whatever. But I was always want them to know, I kind of always say, like, I'm always going to be that dude in your corner. I'm always going to be that guy fighting for you. It may not be easy. I may have to give you the hard truth sometimes in between rounds, like, hey, you are not cutting it right now. But I'm going to always give it to you straight, you know? So,
hard truth between rounds.
Absolutely.
Love that.
So let me ask you, Mitch, has there been someone in your life that's been that person in your corner that's been willing to give you the hard truths between rounds?
That's a good question. I do a lot of reflection. I would, off the top of my head, right now, off the top of my head, no. I've done a lot of self-reflection in my life. When I get done with events, I journal about them, what went right, what went wrong, what do I want to do better the next time. I process things. I talk to my wife about a lot of stuff. That's probably the closest thing to that for me. Pray a lot, bounce things just that way. And there are a lot of different people that I glean from. For example, we got married at 22. And we had our first daughter at 29. And one of the things we really wanted to do is just notice people who parent well and observe what they do, and then ask them questions like, what makes, you this way and stuff like that. And so I'm kind of inquisitive by nature. I like asking questions. I like just kind of sitting back and hearing people talk, but I haven't really had that like one or two amazing iron sharpens iron kind of relationship with people. So no, it's not maybe the answer you're looking for, but
no, not at all. I'm just curious,
Well, I think that may drive you to be that, right?
Maybe. Yeah.
Hey, disclaimer.
Yes.
I'm hanging out with Carmen at a work thing a couple of weeks ago, and she mentions that I went to school with her younger sister.
Right.
I just want to, whatever stories might come when those girls get together, if you hear of Mike Freeman circa 1993 Red Bluff High School,
it was all lies.
I just need to qualify. Like, I made some significant life changes in about October of 1994.
You started buying a late dinner in 94?
Yeah, exactly. A little late to the game, man.
So, I just, when she said that, the thought that's who I was, not who I am.
Mike was going to read his disclaimer. That's his disclaimer. Whenever he runs into someone that he knew from the hey, listen, let me tell you
about that guy.
But Mike, it's funny that you say that
off my chest. Anyways,
it's funny that you say that though, because honestly, I feel like most people that I run into that I've known years ago, right? My expectation in that meeting is that they've changed.
You're right.
You know what I mean? Like, my expectation is not that they're the same. And maybe that's just me, like, hoping they're extending me the same grace, right? Like, right. Tyler's changed. But, right, my hope is that even when my daughters, right, they're both home from college, and I'm thinking, I want to see some changes. And my expectation is that those changes have happened, And so I love that idea, though, that we can run into people, and I'm hoping they're extending grace, saying,
absolutely. Like, my whole job is watching kids come in at 14 and leave at 18, right? Yeah. So, like, I absolutely love that about people. It just makes your backstory more interesting.
Yeah,
right? 100%. To be honest, people that act like that doesn't happen, they're just hiding a lot of stuff.
Right.
I mean, you're just upfront and honest with things. So I don't know. I think everybody's, I don't know if I really want to meet the person that's like, it's the same person I've always been. It's always been great. Like,
100%.
Like we always kind of say, like, warts and all. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Hey, can you let us in a little bit on what your faith journey looks like?
Sure. Absolutely.
So growing up, it sounds like
So parents kind of found Jesus during that late 70s Jesus movement. Kind of that hippie revival meets Jesus meets Billy Graham crusade.
Okay.
But it just wasn't like this tent revival one and done thing. So we met out. Little Country Church started out in the Millville Grange, right around the corner from Foothill High School in Palo Cedro, next to Good Times there. And I remember as a kid going out there in youth group when I was a little kid, and so I was a Little Country, and then they had a big church split, and we started Valley Christian Fellowship with that guy Mike Clary and John Morrell. So I always took a lot of pride in going to a non-denominational church. I thought a lot of the denominational stuff very superficial, and a lot of things like, really going to base the foundation of your faith on when the Sabbath is? Really, Seventh-day Adventists, like that's the hill you're going to die on? Things like that just feel like, dude, can we make the majors a little more and let some of that other stuff go away? And I got that message. One thing that I have always really struggled with is growing up in the church led me to a life where I was really hard on myself. A lot of guilt-based faith. God's going to love you if. Not quite that obvious, but it's laid in there pretty subtle to be a good boy for Jesus kind of thing. And I had to work my way around that. And when I went to college, I had to really kind of stop and go, what do I believe? What is important to me on that? And I had to get to that place where it's like, God loves me for who I am and who I'm trying to be. And that took some time. That was a process. That was actually one of the Bible classes I took at Biola called Authentic Manhood. That was actually a 3-unit class you could take. And that class was talk about unscripted. It was off the radar a little bit, but it really got all of us guys in that room to be really honest with who we are as people, and that we have strengths and we have weaknesses, and it's okay to want to be a strong person and back up what you believe. And that doesn't mean you have to do that through mass perfection. Like you can be who you are and have people see you authentically for who you are. And, and every example of that is found in the Bible, right? Every example of that person that denied Jesus, that person that saw Bathsheba and went, dude, that's a hot chick right there. Those actions weren't great, but these are examples of men being men, like we just said, warts and all. So my coming full circle, I've grown up playing piano in I don't know how many services. I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of church services, whether they need guitar or bass or piano or leading worship or whatever. But I'm currently kind of retired from organized religion. Feel like I've heard the sermons, I've done the worship services, and I can't be at a place right now where I am engaging in that typical Sunday service simply because I can't justify in my mind the marriage that most people have right now of politics with religion. And I just can't escape the prevailing need to want to scream Jesus was not a Republican. And it's pretty rampant up here. And that marriage of your faith and then taking that, first of all, let's just say this right now. Politics are just a dirty, dirty business. It's a dirty game. And it's ugly on both sides.
Yeah.
And I can't abide by the hatred of the other side. I can't get to that place where I'm just like, oh, you bunch of libtards, or you bunch of, I'm not going to pick up that stone and throw it at somebody else. Because there's things that I believe in both sides, but more importantly, I'm not going to let my belief system be dictated by an American political party. Just not going to.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at right now. I pray. I believe in the Bible. I see it different now that I've stepped away. It's been 2 years now. And I feel like I'm in a very healthy place with God. And really, right now, all I care about is the vertical. I've done the horizontal for a long time, connecting with people, ministering to people. And it taps you out too, by the way. But I'm just kind of keeping my focus north right now.
So can we talk a little? Sorry, Tyler.
Go ahead.
You see it differently.
I was going to ask that same question.
Yeah, I think that's fascinating. But I appreciate the candor, and I can feel the reflection that you've had leading through this journey. And it's a journey, right? We talk to folks all over the spectrum. We've had people that talk to us a little bit on the air and off the air about things, because these things are personal things. And I think that we are powerful when we are authentic. There is a power that just enters the space when we honor and when we are vulnerable and let people in, right? Because I agree, as a member of a denominational church, I agree with some of that dog and pony show, right? Or that masked perfection of like,
my interconnect connection is unstable. I lost you for a little bit there.
Oh,
I hope we're okay.
Are you with me now?
I'm back. It was buffering for a second. I think I'm okay now.
All right, great.
I was just talking a little bit about, I mean, I've seen that, I've even felt that guilt or that masked perfection, right? It's like, we need to show up and be who we are, right? I mean, I would sign up for that authentic manhood class now. I mean, I just appreciate the candor and letting us in on that journey. But what does it mean to you when you share that you see the Bible differently now?
The main way I see the Bible differently is that I memorized the Bible kind of like little Rolodex cards or fortune cookie cards, that chapter and verse, take this verse out and use it to say, I'm putting God's word in my heart that I might not sin against you, as a way to kind of like protect yourself from being a bad kid or something like that. And that is absolutely validity to that. But I took a lot of pride. My parents called me the Bible answer man, because again, all we were allowed to listen to was Christian music. That also meant all we were allowed to listen to was KVIP. So if the Bible answer man came on, I was, and I still am. I'm a facts dude. I'm a trivia guy. So I could answer any question that dude asked when I was a kid. Like I knew the word, but I didn't know the word so that I could. I did it because I'm a facts guy, and I wanted to like show how much I knew, so to speak. And as a kid, that's fine. There was nothing like disingenuous by that. I was right. I was into it and stuff, and that's great. But I've realized that the Bible is much more about the stories and the heart behind those stories, and learning how to read the Bible without, now I need to get to this chapter or whatever. This isn't Game of Thrones. This isn't like, this. I don't need these verses associated with it. That's not how the Bible was originally written and intended. Sometimes we pull things out, and I've just kind of noticed context.
Like any good book, right?
It's more important than anything, right?
Like any good book, we pull things out. Book.
Exactly right. So, so that's probably the primary thing, guys, is just kind of realizing, let me get to the stories and the heart behind those stories, and the deeper meaning of how that was written and why that was written, and understand the broad view rather than feeling like I have to memorize and regurgitate these verses, because my faith is not a fortune cookie.
Yeah.
By the way, fortune cookies.
It's not Confucius say, it's not Jesus say this. And then the way that some people pull those out to justify their little I'mRight.com to back up their belief system, that is frankly a little skewed and a little different from, I think, where Jesus wants us to live.
Yeah.
By the way, the quality of fortune cookies has gone way down.
Oh, there's no question.
I'm getting screwed like 8 out of 10 times.
Those numbers are never right on the back. You know what I mean? I haven't won one Powerball yet. Well, yeah. Mitch, what is it? So as you're kind of in this retirement, right, from organized religion, you're kind of focusing north. What does that journey look like for you now in your progression in spirituality?
It's getting away from this feeling of have to. It's getting away from this feeling of it's a great question. I keep going back to like that concept of like good Christian boy and being in the pew every Sunday and putting on the same. I don't know, Ty. I don't think I can really fully wrap my head around that right now. I kind of drifted a little bit in my thought. Would you mind just repeating the question again for me one more time?
I'm just curious with kind of taking a step back from the organized, denominational, congregational religion, right?
Yes.
And your focus being north. I'm curious what that spiritual journey looks like where you're at now.
It's clearer because it's not defined by branding me with something. It's not defined by the church I go to, the people I hang out with, or the denomination I'm with. It's just it's stripped away and it's a lot more clear.
It's more of a one-on-one relationship.
Yeah.
This is where I like that. I mean, I think it's important, right? And regardless of where we're at or what denomination we associate with or congregation we attend, I think that the goal is that one-on-one relationship, right?
I'm thinking of Stephen Mitchell, right? Stephen Mitchell, it's relationship.
100%.
Right? I want a relationship with you.
Right.
There's a good dude. Anytime you can quote Stephen Mitchell, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
A good dude right there.
He is a good dude.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a friend of the program. He's a classic.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah.
That dude is incapable of shallow thought. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So Mitch, how does this relate, this faith journey that you're on and where you're at? How does it relate? Talk to me about, we talked about you meeting Carmen and you get married. Talk to me about kids and break that down for me.
Both Carmen and I very early on said we do not want to raise our kids in a guilt house. We do not want to raise our kids through this feeling of guilt and you must be, so we went to church and they went all through youth group and stuff like that. But we had to unpack a lot of the way, and good-natured kids, good-natured teachers, good Sunday school teachers, great volunteers, but they go that same shtick, right? And you start to learn and it's kind of subliminally brought in there, like God will love you if, right? And so you kind of start going through like the what not to do's, so much like this checklist. And it's like, Jesus came to free us from those checklists. That's called the law. That's called Old Testament, right? And so not saying that we aren't supposed to be mindful of doing what is right. But we tend to look at, and boy, this was a big one for me, the divine conspiracy and the fruits of the Spirit, and looking at the fruits of the Spirit like this checklist. Man, I need more love in my life. I need more joy in my life. Why don't I have enough patience? I go down all those things until I realize, no, my only job is to stop making this endless list of things I need in my life. The job of the fruits of the Spirit is to try to graft yourself to the vine and let His attributes flow through you. Stop making this about yourself. And, we carry so much weight and burden being people of faith, thinking we have to be a certain way. And the second I kind of let that stuff, and by the way, it's not a second, it's been a lifelong process. As I've started to try to let this stuff go and allow myself to just be who I am a little more, I think I've been much more the person I want to be and content in my own skin. And I think my kids, our kids see that about ourselves. And like my son's at youth group right now. That's where he is right this moment. He's down at the Anderson Church of Christ, having a great time with his buddies and learning about God. And that's great. Fill up that tank. But then sometimes he'll come home and he'll unpack a couple things and I'm thinking, oh, that's kind of it's kind of old school theology. I want you trying to live the best life you can, but I don't want you to feel like you're doing it out of like what will happen to you. We kind of all grew up in that generation that when there are videotapes, like someone's videoing you, and then when you die, you're going to go watch a video of all the decisions you made, and you're going to get judged right there. And I don't know if you guys saw that stuff, but I did, and I just think that's just first-rate hooey, as they say. I just don't think that's my God. I don't think that's how he works.
Yeah.
I think he works through love. And I see Jesus saw the crowd and had compassion on them over and over again in the Bible. And I see how he moved among the people and how he talked. And I just feel like sometimes I read a different Bible than a lot of other people.
There's a tendency in religious conversations to focus on the punitive aspect of religion, right?
Sure.
As opposed to, I think that probably the most important aspect is the compassion and mercy of God, and less, there's a great quote, and I'm going to paraphrase here. I think it was Reuben Clark that said that I believe that God will give us the least amount of punishment possible and the most amount of grace possible, right? And I think that's the reality of a loving Heavenly Father who knows us, as you said, knows us, knows our hearts, and understands those decisions that we make.
Well, I think
I have to believe in that. If you follow the rabbit hole of how Jesus treated his own disciples when he rose again and came back, I have to believe in that, because in 100%. His ultimate time of need, they all went peace out, bro. But
right.
Right. But I think you just have to continue to believe in that notion, and that I'm just not. And, bringing it back to my life and my job, it's changed the way, you're like, how has that kind of impacted your teaching? I've kind of removed a lot of the checklists from kids, like, in my mind, like, if you do this, then I'm really going to teach you well or really work hard for you, especially in this post-COVID world. I mean, kids just, the amount of things that are important to me musically now has almost completely been stripped away. I just want them to just have a normal year, just have a good time. So,
well, I think that there's some cool connections between that thought of a music teacher and our relationship with God, right? You think of, like, I think, was it Whiplash?
Oh, jeez.
Right? Like,
I can't decide if I love that movie or hate that movie. But...
Right, but like,
hey, man, dude.
There's some thoughts that God is there and he's going to stop everything the second that we make a mistake, or like, it's like, no, you practice, right? We're practicing heaven down here. So hymn number 87, Tyler, in our hymnal on Sunday, I actually took my phone out and took a picture of the last. It just kind of rained down on me, maybe the season in my life or whatever. The hymn is called God is Love, and the last line is, all the voices from above sweetly whisper, God is love. Right? Like, I think we've got it wrong in some cases. And, Tyler, we know a good friend of ours, Kent Wiseman, a man that I admire, got to get him on the program. But like he said, I think we've got it wrong when it comes to like how much God loves his kids, especially the wayward ones. And if you think about, he's a father, he's a perfect father. We are imperfect fathers. And me being a father has totally changed my thoughts, relationship, my understanding of the nature of who God is, and I'm not even close to even like, I'm not even close to loving like I should. And I still get it. When my kid messes up, it's not just, it's a hug, right? It's not pack your stuff and head out. It's talk to me. That's right.
Yeah. And
it's drawing closer.
Move on, but we got to talk our way through this, and I'm going to love you through this. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Love you through it. Yeah. Love you through it.
100%. That's great.
I love that. I love that journey, man. I think that's I think that if we were more invested in exploring that relationship, our personal relationship with God, I think it'd be a different animal, right? I mean, if we were really looking at things as, how am I connecting? How am I fitting in? How am I growing this relationship? I think it'd be a different world.
Well, you said it. We talked about growth almost this entire show. And I just needed my relationship and how I viewed God through the lens of religion and other people's eyes. I needed to change, and I needed to kind of go, God, I just need you and me time. I need to strip all the other things away, and I need a clear picture of why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's probably a few too many worship services, man. But
well, you know,
I should have him no Mike, but you know, but
let me tell you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me tell you about hymnal really quick. In my church, in my building, there's a place that I sit, and in that pew there's a hymnal. And I grab it, and I don't know the name, I don't know the number, but every once in a while, it's a go-to. It's a common one that we sing. And in that particular hymnal, there is a lady's mascara, teardrop, dripped, running down the page. I love that.
Yeah.
Right? I love me some of that. When I see that, every time I'm thinking, that's God. Right? That's faith. That's somebody who's having a hard time.
Yeah.
Right? And is trying to draw closer to be healed, because that's what we're looking for, right?
And this, I don't want this to any way be an anti-church message. People need community. They need to be around other people. Like, I want people to fall in love with Jesus that way. I want them to,
Anyway,
God exists for whatever people need at the time that they are in their life. I mean, like Romans 1, God reveals himself even, when they're like, oh, the people in, the middle of nowhere in Africa, do they know who God is? And, the Bible's like, God's going to reveal themselves to him in whatever way they need, like it's not always the same way. Different people are going to experience God in different ways. And right now, this is what I need. But other people, they need that mascara line, and they need to meet him that way. Some people on Sunday, what they need to do is grab a paddleboard and get out to Whiskey Town and just sit there in the middle of the lake and meet God that way. But God is available for those things. It doesn't have to be the exact, and I'm just going to say it, that right-wing American Christian way that we think that God wants to love us the best. That doesn't fit in everybody's box,
Yeah.
We're getting a little echo. Not a little echo. We're getting a lot of echo. Oh, is it good?
I think it just fixed itself.
Oh, nice. Okay. Hey, can I ask this question, Mitch? Can you tell me something that you've learned from life the hard way?
Sure. Yeah, no problem. I was a pretty athletic kid. You and I played basketball with some kids in the gym.
Right.
The day. I love me some hoops. I love me some 2-on-2. I was a pretty judgmental dude about any person that physically wasn't cutting it, and then my life changed. I've been hit with some hard things health-wise, long battle with Crohn's, bad spine problems, several major concussions, and exercise and the drive to be that. And I still got a good first step, but even with my pound, and I can still stick a J in your face, Mike. But I had to learn. That's another part of being content with myself. I had to learn how to be content in my own skin and realize, not that God was punishing me and now he was showing me see what you get for being judgmental. I had to strip that away, man. That was a big thing I went through for a while. But I'm authentically happy with who I am and what I've come out of, and just owning that and being who I am. Sure, it'd be great to lose some weight, but I can't, in that process, I can't just be totally upset with myself all the time. And God's taught me how to just be comfortable with the hand I've been dealt and what I'm dealing with. So, and that's sometimes I think about that because that's something that really got me down for a while.
Is that a surrender? Is that an acceptance? Is that a submission? What would you call that?
Acceptance.
Yeah.
Not a surrender.
That feels healthy.
Because I'm still working on, eating right and understanding all the metabolism of a teenager and all those things that we all deal with.
Tell me about it.
Right. So yeah, I could get the double, but I guess I'll get the single lettuce wrapped and the stuff. It still tastes good, but geez, man. Geez.
You're a better man than I, Mitch.
I feel like I got to turn on my name card when I order that, So, but
but there is a wrestle. Hey, there is.
Have the double, just have it and just know, like, it's okay. That's what I want to eat right now,
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, because that's the wrestle that I'm having, right? Like, you talk about life being a movie, right? I don't want to be at the end and be like, I was miserable.
Right.
Right. Like I want, and that's actually why when I think of faith in God, when I think of surrender and acceptance and all of those things, to me, it's happiness, right? Like I'm hoping that my kids see that, hey, Mike does these things, Dad does these things because that's how he's found happiness.
Yeah.
And that's what I want for my kids. That's what I want for everyone. Right. And I think that I do know that when you do wrong, it's really hard to find happiness. I mean,
I just don't want my kids like looking and saying, Dad's eating that double again. He's happy. He's found his happy place.
Oh, hold on.
Boy, Dad's happy a lot. Jeez, man.
Exactly. He's the happiest guy I know.
That dude is happy.
There might be some of that food making me happy, and Dad's always happy when he.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that's funny, man.
Oh, also just the experiences I've gone through: car accidents, spine problems, medical issues. I use that sometimes to talk to the kids about living with pain. Pain management, teaching empathy to the kids, teaching that we don't always know with people what is lying under the surface, teaching them sometimes chronic pain gets the best of me and I might be a little surly that day and I need to be okay with that. And, we're living this life day in and day out together. So having them be okay with me being me and being in tune with that, being understanding of that. And that's in some weird ways, that's been a good teaching tool too. And also standing in front of them saying, I'm content with who I am.
Yeah.
Somebody might look at me and think, that's ridiculous. You got glasses because you can't see as well anymore and you should lose some pounds and because kids are never happy with themselves. That all these negative thoughts come in and certainly social media feed that like crazy. They're never good enough. They don't look the way they want to.
Comparison is the thief of joy, right?
Comparison is the thief of joy. There it is. I mean, I just said that today in class. So, and just kind of teaching them that that's all social media is. It's just comparing. It's just you're constantly looking, going, why didn't I go to Hawaii? Why didn't I get a new car? Why don't I have that girlfriend? Why don't I look like that? Why, and so it's constant. It's this constant cycle. And, it sucks you in. And it's just so dangerous.
Yeah, I agree. Mitch, what gives you hope these days?
That I can impact, it's that one person. I know I'm going to impact more than one person, but just I trust my little circle of influence that God's given me, that I can make a difference in kids' lives.
I love that.
You asked me last week, like, are you excited about school? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, if Cloney called me tomorrow and said summer's extended another month, I'd be like,
yeah.
Right. So that doesn't really do it for me. What does it for me is showing up today and seeing those kids and going, we got an opportunity for 9 months.
Yeah.
To really, really make a dent on kids. I'm unafraid. I'm putting my dad hat on. One thing that my teaching has changed in the last 6 years, like I received an honor of Teacher of the Year, and that emboldened me to go.
State.
No, I know what I'm talking about.
Hold on, Mitch.
Good.
You forgot that lead word of state Teacher of the Year.
I'm a
and I'm not Wyoming. No offense to our friends in Wyoming, but we're talking about California
like
State Teacher of the Year.
In Wyoming. Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest, you guys. The bar's a little higher in Wyoming. It is what it is. Don't be upset. All right.
No, congratulations.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That is really awesome.
But what it did for me is it made me go, there's a lot of people that really, I don't have to mince words. I don't have to hold back. I can say what I want to say. It gave me a little more freedom to go, I do know what I'm talking about. One of the reasons people recognize I'm successful is because I'm willing to step into that place with kids and say that thing that they need to hear. And I'm just unafraid to be that uncle or dad in their life that maybe they need. And that's a burden. I've learned to care about that, but not carry that. Because if you carry all that, you just won't be able to move. So I've kind of modeled my teaching around care, but don't carry. And so I want the kids to see that I'm unafraid to care for them, that it's okay to care for each other. It's okay to have respect enough for yourself that you capitalize your freaking eyes when you turn the paper. They won't even capitalize their own eyes anymore. It's an epidemic, Mike, in the country. Dude, they can't even hit shift when they do an eye. And I'm like, have some respect for yourself.
Hey, just so you know, my daughter served an 18-month mission in Pennsylvania. Every week,
came home.
Every week she wrote an email. None of those emails included any capitalization. It is an epidemic.
I love the have some self-respect.
There's a shift key on both reasons, on both sides of the freaking keyboard. Come on, man.
Are we just grumpy?
Or your right hand. It's killing me.
We just grumpy old men, and we're going to start talking about coupons and prescription
drugs?
No, we're talking about shift keys for the next 20 minutes.
Mitch is onto something there. I got to be honest with you, man. I'm with him on that. So, all right, beautiful.
Let's we're not going to judge by the we're going to judge by the content of their character, not their
shoddy ability.
Is that punctuation? Is it punctuation? Is it grammar? I don't. It's grammar.
No, man. Someone sent me a text the other day that said, "I'll meet you there." THEIR.
Okay, that's unforgivable.
I was like, "What are we talking about here? Where are we going?"
That's unforgivable.
Anyway.
I think that's one of the epistles. Yeah, Paul wrote about that. That is unforgivable.
I agree.
Okay, Mitch. Looking back on the years that you've had, can you share with us a memory, a particular moment? Can you paint a picture for us of a time when maybe you looked around and thought, "This is rich"?
Ooh.
Right? A rich moment, a moment in time where you truly felt rich.
So my daughter is a tennis player down in Texas. She's going into her junior year. We've spent our life trying to get this girl towards her dreams. Since she was a little girl, she wanted to play Division I tennis. So a lot of tournaments, a lot of work, a lot of money. Tennis is an expensive sport. Holy cow. And we sat her down at the end of her sophomore year and said, "I know you love jazz band. I know you love being in Daddy's band. I know you love playing piano and trombone, but you can't do it anymore. Like, you got to lay that down. You need weekends not to be at football games and Dad's band. You need to be down at tournaments, and no more AP classes. I don't want you worried about that. I don't want that brain space. Not only studying for the test, but then obsessing all weekend about what grade you got. You need to be focused on what you want to do. This is your goal." And kind of laying out a little bit of and that's not a path a lot of people think is the path for college, but we pushed in. And she saw it and trusted us and went with it, and it paid off big time. and she still had a 4.0. You know, just didn't do the AP rigor. But she said, you can't take this away from me. Like I have to be with you in class, you know? And so she learned the viola to be an orchestra with me. So, which is not an easy instrument. So she learned the alto clef, and she learned how to play viola. And she just was like, when she was just, of everything I said, that was the thing that truly, like, that she just fought like crazy still to like be with me and be in class. Those are still stuff that kind of, you know, like moves me to tears, makes me humble. So I thought at that moment, like, man, the drive of my kids and a lot of their friends to take, I had a family graduate, their youngest graduated in spring. And I got up in front of their mom and I said, I want you to realize, like, you had 11 years of letting your kids drive down from Shingletown for, you know, jazz band for like 11 consecutive years. And I looked at all the classes they took with me, and the 4 kids combined took 53 classes from me in total of 16 years. Like, that level of sacrifice to take college classes, to do whatever they needed to get as much in music. And it just makes me feel rich of the environment I try to create for the kids and curate, that they feel safe, they feel comfortable, they truly feel like they have their friend group. We don't have profanity in the band room. We don't accept it. If kids have their cell phones out, they got a right to take someone else's cell phone and turn it into me. We try to just be free of that stuff and just, you know, as genuinely as we can in a public school, like, care about each other, try hard for each other. And that my daughter in that moment wanted to be in that place where she's like, you can take all these things away from me, but I've got to still have that with you. It meant a lot.
That's awesome.
That's a cool moment. You know, but Tyler, hopefully you're getting a little vibe of that culture that he's created, right?
Yeah.
Like, you haven't seen a party until the drum line hits the assembly, right? Or hits the rally. You go to a pep rally. Pep rallies are going to be, you know, we've been there. They're fun. Yep. But pep rally with Mitch's drum line?
Friday.
That's
halftime
rad.
show, right? Halftime of a rival basketball game, and his drum line takes the floor. You've never felt it. Energy's off the charts, man. But I think it is that love. I think it's that, like, that space of, you know, creating a sense of belonging, right? Like, to create a home where kids want to come home to create a place where kids are willing to sacrifice, to do whatever it takes to be a part of something bigger than themselves. Right?
And it's way more, for me, it's way more about a deck of cards than a minor scale. It's way more about a Frisbee than a tough, you know, rudiment in a part or something like that. It's about, you know, I tell people I built my program through a deck of cards and a Frisbee. Like, you know, it's just about finding those things of, like, getting people around. We do hearts tournaments. We have a movie night. You know, that stuff's just kind of like, you know, part of me, I feel like I still am a youth pastor. You know, like, it is a little bit of that. You know,
yeah, it feels like it. The other day, I jotted down in my journal this thought, right? Outcome equals fruit. Fruit grows in ideal conditions. If I want fruit, improve my conditions. You know, and I think that when we want a fruitful life, Tyler, going back to your idea of, like, hey, grass isn't greener on the other side.
Yeah.
Take care of yours.
Right.
Take care of your conditions. You want that love? Create a space where love happens, right? We are in charge of, or we have some influence on those conditions. Now, you know, there are some things that we are dealt. There are some things that, it's going to require some acceptance. But man, if we can invest in our own lives, in the conditions of our lives, in the relationships of our lives, and actually pour into and invest in the people around us, that's where the fruit's going to happen. Right? Yeah.
I love it. Mitch, this has been a ton of fun. I'm so...
I don't know what an alta-clef is.
I don't either, but I'm gonna Google it.
Yeah. So So it's the clef that resides in between the treble and the bass clef. So if you've ever played piano, your right hand's on the treble clef, your left hand's on the bass clef, and that middle C bridges those two clefs. Well, middle C is in the middle of the alto clef, which takes up the two lines of the treble clef and the two lines of the bass clef. So it's that clef in the middle.
I feel like I'm your younger sister, and you just got home from school, and you're teaching me.
Yeah.
Stuff.
And I'm just like,
wait, let me get a whiteboard. I'll be right
back. Hey, we are about honoring people. Is there anybody that you want to honor in our time together?
Oh man. Well, I was thinking about your podcast. I've listened to several episodes, and I have to say that I think that's your guys' strength. I mean, you are exemplary at edifying other people. You do that really well, Mike. I appreciate the words you had to say about me, and Tyler, it's been great to get to know you. But that's one of the things you guys do really well, is affirm and edify other people. And I thought that maybe a wrinkle somewhere down the line in your seasons of Richest Man in Town is to maybe get a few women to talk about what it means to be a good man and edify that man from a third person kind of perspective. But for me, it's all about my wife. And I say that because I found my best friend, and she's my partner in life. And, people kind of look at us funny, like, what do you mean you've really never had a major disagreement? And sure, we've quibbled and spatted over a few things, but we are just one of the things, that, like I said, we got married at 22 and we had Izzy at 29, and we made a pact in our 20s. We will never circumvent each other. We're going to be like captain and XO, always having each other's back. And, one of us might be captain and one of us might play the XO during that time. I'm thinking of Crimson Tide right now. I said that, but we're never, when we had kids, we wanted them to think it is 2-on-1 and you will never penetrate this defense. We'll never break this. And that kind of stability, I think the kids have really thrived in. They've never really seen us question each other on anything. And so we've been lockstep in our minds and our hearts together. And I just, a lot of people say that, like, man, I just feel like the luckiest man alive. But you see how steady Eddie Carmen is. You see just what an incredible, you get to see that every day when you're around, and she is just as I just thank God for her. And so that's, if I was going to identify anybody, it's the person that God gave me just to live my life with, that I just can't be more thankful for.
And what a better story than Mervin's and LA Gear, man, to kick it off. You know what I mean? Yeah, I love it.
Hey, you got a senior son, right?
Yes.
That's exciting.
Class of 23. And we need to start a campaign right now. Forget Johnston's. Forget the red cap and gown. I think every Foothill grad should come out with their favorite Jordan jersey, red and black. Let's all rock the 23 Jordans. Wear your Jordan shoes if you want.
That's it.
The whole class should be in Jordans. I think it just be.
Oh man, if you need to make that happen, you need to make it happen. I love that.
I need Phil Knight to catch wind of that so he can just sponsor the whole damn thing.
Okay, so Bill Russell passed away, right? Pour some out for Bill Russell.
Yeah.
But it's
number 6.
No contest, right?
Yeah.
The GOAT is number 23.
The GOAT's MJ. There's no question. Yeah.
Because there's all kinds of craziness out there. I mean, there's some stuff. I mean, it's without question.
Yeah, I mean, come on. LeBron got swept in the finals. Jordan never saw a game 7 of the finals. He never saw a game 7.
Yeah.
Right. He took care of business by game 6, and there's a drive there that is pretty amazing with him. I think that Kobe's passing has given us a little more understanding of he was right there. Kobe, what Kobe was able to do down there. I guess we're coming back to LA again, but he was right on the heels. And what we saw from Kobe is the layers were so much deeper. He was constantly calling his big brother Jordan, asking how he'd get better.
Yeah.
He was constantly investing in other people. You hear Sabrina Eskew up in Oregon talk about how Kobe would call her and encourage her, and you hear Book start talking about that, and you hear Jason Tatum talking about that. He sure could have used Kobe telling him not to commit 100 turnovers in the postseason.
A little better shot selection.
Good jobs, baby.
Hey, that's hurt. That's hurt.
Shut him down, man.
That's a little hurtful because our guy here was pulling Celtics.
Yeah, I'm a Celtics fan. Yeah, absolutely.
You can't always be right about everything. I mean,
Hey, you got to forgive quick, Mitch. You got to forgive quick, man.
Got a few banners up there. You're fine. You got to appreciate a guy like Steph too, just what he brings to the table and just that concept of playing with joy. Both Kurt took a look at that team when he was trying to decide where to coach and went, I'm going to hitch my wagon to that guy because he saw that he authentically played with joy, that he edified his teammates, and probably coming off being with the GOAT who punched him in the face during a practice. He probably went, dude, I can hitch my wagon to this kid because he's special, and boy, what a unique unicorn that guy is, huh?
Well, and special is one thing, but sustained special is something else.
Yeah,
right.
That longevity, huh?
Yeah, because anyone can come out a rookie and be like, this is fun.
Yeah, but he's a rookie that was too slow, couldn't dribble, bad ankles. Is he a point guard? Is he a shooting guard? What is he?
Right.
No one knew what to do with Steph. And he just got to work,
Yeah. Yeah, that's inspiring.
Sure is.
Inspiring for sure. Yeah.
He certainly didn't have that NBA prototype body. Dude could barely – you look at his pictures from his rookie year, barely looked like he fit in his own jersey. I mean, kind of looked like a junior hire up there, like
he did.
PJ like, Armstrong rebirthed, right?
He's just like the Tom Brady at the combine. Is it the same picture?
Exactly, right? We'll take the guy in the 6th round.
Right, yeah. Well, I got to tell you, Mitch, I've loved getting to meet you. I'm grateful for Mike for, one of the things I love about this podcast is the opportunity that I have to interact with people that I don't know. And I've loved it. I've learned a lot tonight, and I just appreciate who you are and what you're doing. I really do. And the world needs more people like Mitch out there, and we'd be a lot better place.
Hey, it was an honor to be on. Second, I've heard about your podcast, and I'm not a big podcast guy. I'd rather be listening to music, or I get a lot of decibels, and I'd rather just have stuff off.
Yeah.
Wait for Coop and Pipe to come on and entertain me for a little bit. But, it's been a lot of fun. I've listened to a lot of your podcasts. Like I said, I appreciate the way you guys interview, how you edify. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing good work.
Hey, Mitch, I got to tell you, before you came on, we were it was like a little bromance a little bit, Tyler. We were talking a little bit over the break of how we missed each other, and we missed that idea of iron sharpening iron, and in the drift, because there are forces at play in our lives as men, as as professional folks going out in the world doing things. And I think that drift can sometimes get us into places where it's like the world isn't necessarily sending a message of, hey, try to be better every day. Beat yesterday.
That's right.
The world is sending messages about comparison. The world is sending message about guilt and shame and all these other things, contention. So we call this our midweek church, like the idea of coming together with some folks and asking questions and sitting back. And we are convinced that everybody's got a story if we're curious enough to sit down and ask some questions.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's a great idea. I appreciate you guys doing it. Second I heard that concept of richest man in town, I'm like, let's go. One of everybody's favorite movies, just right at the end of that thing. And every Christmas Eve, that guy gets me to tears. That stupid bell, angel getting his wings, all that stuff.
Love every piece of it. And in fact,
every piece. And I say stupid, but gosh dang it, I say stupid because that darn thing gets me every time.
You and me both, man. Yeah. But I got to tell you, Mitch, we in honor of that movie that we all love and the principles of that movie, where George has those moments where he reflects on his life and what life would look like without him. And how rich his life would be or would not be without the relationships that he had in life. Yep. We end every episode of our show the same way, and I pose this question to you, Mitch. What does it mean to you to be considered the richest man in town?
What it means to me to be the richest man in town is that I have people that, when when that time comes for me and that my time on earth is done, that I have people that go, I'm glad that guy invested in me. I'm glad that guy took the time to show that he cared about me. I'm glad that even though I wasn't his student, that I could, that when they called, I picked up the phone and said, what do you need? How can I help? And yeah, it's kind of weird because a lot of my best friends right now are my former students. Sunday I went out to lunch with a kid, and he's 30, and he's class of 2011.
So awesome.
That those seniors, I got to officiate one of my former students' weddings a few months ago.
Come on.
Yeah. So just staying in contact with stuff like that, and just realizing, when they graduate, I just want them to be like, okay, off with you, time to breed the next group to win the next piece of plastic. It's tough out there being 20 something, being 30 something, the economy is crazy. And what if I got to move back with my parents, and how do I make this thing work? And a little lost. And, we all kind of set up having careers, but that concept of a career and going to college to get this profession and do that's not reality for a lot of people anymore. That society and making money is changing, and I had a former student, like 2006, he was huge into crypto in Portland, and that crashed, and he's kind of lost his mind, and he's calling me. I'm like, I'm honored that you call me. How can I help? So I don't know, just trying to be there for kids and even when they're adults. So
I love the fact that there's just these 20 plus years of students that are richer for their interaction with you, Mitch. And I love that. And
the school I used to teach at in Whittier, my former student is there. One of my former students is there now teaching.
Oh, so man.
He comes to me all the time. The choir teacher at Foothills, one of my former students that graduated in 2014.
Man.
It's that kind of stuff's neat. I have a lot of former students that are band directors or that are in music, and we keep in touch. And it's been pretty powerful relationships for me.
What I love about it is like the music is the byproduct.
Yeah, absolutely.
The music is the byproduct. Like we're just building people.
It's the thing that puts us in the same room together.
Yeah.
And the magic happens around everything else. I love that, man.
Exactly.
I love it.
What are you listening to right now? What's your music right now? What are you listening to?
I can't stop listening to Snarky Puppy.
Snarky Puppy.
Snarky Puppy.
Put it down.
I'm writing
we're
it
dropping
down,
in the
man.
show notes.
And by the way,
they'll blow up.
Mike knows how to get a hold of me. Just in a couple weeks, just send me a little note, drop it, just say thank you. And do yourself a favor and go to YouTube and type in the word Lingus, Lingus, and just sit back and enjoy, man.
All right, I'm going to do that.
So Snarky Puppy is like rock meets funk meets jazz. It's just soul food, man.
I'm all good. In. I love it, man.
Right.
All right, you keep your eyes peeled for the note, man. It's coming your way.
Heard of Wolfpack? They're kind of in that same vein.
Okay.
Just a great jam band. VULFPECK. Another great group.
We'll drop all this in the show notes for the Richest Men in Town community.
I love it, man. Mitch, it's been a blast. I've loved every minute of it. Thanks so much for being here with us, man.
Thank you. You guys keep doing what you do. Thanks. I really appreciate it. It's an honor being on.
All right. You keep going. Have a great school year, huh?
Thank you. Day 2 is tomorrow.
Take care, man.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Good idea, Ernie. A toast to my big brother George, the richest man in town.